Good morning and welcome. I have a few quick announcements before we get started today. Thank you for getting here early. We'll be using the microphone for joys and sorrows, but if you would prefer to write one out, you are welcome to do that and place them in the basket up here, and I will do my best to catch those as we get to that part of our service. I hope you all have received a handout that has some announcements on it of things that are happening over the next weeks. I'll be at the Capitol tomorrow. If anybody wants to come with me, I'm actually going to be working with a youth caucus of kids from across our state who are being very brave in going to the Capitol to let their voice be heard, and they're going to learn about the legislative process. And we had a wonderful discussion about our Article 2 proposed changes to the 7 principles and 6 sources. We had a great lunch discussion about that last Sunday, and we're going to do that again next Sunday. And there's a sign-up sheet at the welcome table to let people know how much food to get. So please look over the announcements, all the different things that are in there, and we'll get started.
I'm shorter.
Everybody is.
Good morning and welcome to San Gabriel Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Whether you are here in the sanctuary or watching at home, hi camera, we are glad you are here. My name is Kelly McGinty and my pronouns are she and her. I have been a member of San Gabriel since I believe it was end of 2017, beginning of 2018. I have served in various capacities on the board, including secretary, vice president, president, and now past president. No. Yes, my most important role here at San Gabriel UU is that I am the co-chair of the hospitality team, and we make sure everyone is caffeinated. And I'm so glad everybody's here. The time changed last night, so I'm extra caffeinated this morning. And with that, I would like to say San Gabriel is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association. There are over 1,000 UU congregations in the United States. All of us together are working for a just, peaceful, and sustainable world. Sustaining each other here in community is the first step down the long road of that important work that we do. If you would like to know more about us and learn about upcoming events, I encourage you to go to our website and sign up for our newsletter. Please know that whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, whatever your gender identity or immigration status, you are welcome here. And now for our opening hymn. Let us greet this day in song. Our opening hymn is number 16, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple." The music is in the gray hymnal, and the lyrics, as always, will be projected behind me. And now for our chalice lighting. Let us now light our chalice with the words of our own Reverend Jamie. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith, for the promise of a new day, for the renewal of belonging, for the connection between and beyond, all that is, all that was, and all that is yet to come. May our many sparks meet and merge in communion of heart and soul to greet this day.
Good morning, and our theme for Soul Matters this month is the path of vulnerability. And I hope our connection groups are finding exploration of this theme meaningful, and I hope our families have found the Soulful Home packet and all of the activities it offers engaging and fun. For our call to worship today, I center us in this theme with words from the Reverend Gretchen Haley, with gratitude to writer Anne Lamott. Grace meets us where we are. There is nothing you need to bring with you to be welcome here. No right beliefs or proof of citizenship, no eternal optimism or clarity of conviction, no boundless courage or endless expertise. You do not need to know what brought you here or how you will solve that problem you are turning over and over and over in your mind. Your bills do not need to be paid, and your checkbook can be a mess. Your children may have been up half the night. Your hearing aids may not be working, and your knees may be creaking. You do not need to be already perfect or even halfway to belong in this circle where grace meets us where we are, but does not leave us as it found us. Where love resides in each of us, yet it is somehow more than all, where life still pulses and rages and heals and transforms, creating us and this day anew once again. Come, let us worship together.
At this point of the service, we regularly read an affirmation of our faith. Today, however, we will read our congregational covenant. I will read aloud the first line, and then you will all read the next. The words will be projected behind me. I always like to make sure. As members of our beloved community, we agree to act together in loving kindness to promote justice, equity, and compassion.
While together we will practice patience and look for goodwill and good intentions in each other's actions.
We will seek first to understand, then to be understood. We will welcome the diversity among us with genuine curiosity, acceptance, and empathy.
We commit to resolve differences by seeking directly to each other or through mediation.
We promise to work toward forgiveness whenever we fall short of these expectations.
Moving forward, we will honor our past, embrace change, and joyfully celebrate the success of our community.
And now it is time for our Wonder Box.
It is spring break, and so there are not many littles in the room today, if at all. But I would love to hear some guesses as to what might be in the Wonder Box. There's something in there for sure. Seeds, a sponge, a music box. All right, I love how you are helping each other learn and grow. I put it in a bag because I didn't want it to get all over the inside of the Wonder Box. But yes, I ate one already, so I wouldn't be tempted by that one. But yes, it is a donut. And we have more in the coffee and conversation after church today. So let's see what our story tells us about donuts.
Exclamation mark by Amy Krauss Rosenthal, illustrated by Tom Lichtenheld, published by Scholastic. Books. He stood out from the very beginning. He stood out here. He stood out there. It seemed like the only time he didn't stand out was when he was asleep. He tried to be more like them, but he just wasn't like everyone else. Period. He was confused, flummoxed, and deflated. He even thought about running away. Then, one day, hello? Who are you? What grade are you in? What's your favorite color? Do you like frogs? What's your favorite ice cream? When's your birthday? Know any good jokes? Do you want to race to the corner? Is there an echo in here? Is there an echo in here? What's your favorite movie? Do you know what makes gravity? Why do you look so surprised? Am I boring you? Do you think a snail could go around the world? So, what do you want to do? Who's taller, you or me? What do you want to be when you grow up? Stop! He didn't know he had it in him. How'd you do that? Can you do it again? He wasn't sure, so he started small. Hi. That felt right, so he tried something bigger. Howdy. And as he pushed himself a bit more, wow. He discovered a world of possibilities. Yippee, this is fun. Way to go. Bravo. It was like he broke free from a life sentence. You're it, yes. Home run, cool. Congratulations, happy birthday. Go, encore, look out. Wake up, boo. He couldn't wait to show everyone. Hey guys, it's me, look what I can do. Of course, there was much exclaiming. Isn't he something? There was never any question in our minds. So, with his head held high, he went off to make his mark. The end. Exclamation mark by
We can hear it again. Okay, so what did that story have to do with the Wonder Box today? There was not a single donut in that story. We do have donuts in the room, so yes. And there are even some donut crafts at the back if you would really like to keep your hands busy while I'm speaking. So, about donuts. In the story, exclamation mark discovered his meaning, his purpose, with the help of a question mark. He wasn't a period. He stood out, and he realized he had special qualities that helped others. And then when he was able to contribute, and that he was able to contribute and describe that to others. And the reason the donut came to mind for me was because years ago, a church I belonged to was in such serious conflict it almost split. The consultants who came in to help us through the conflict, repair, and grow, let us know that one of the issues that led to the conflict and allowed it to happen was because we were unclear on mission and covenant. We had a lot of implicit assumptions about what our stated values were and what our purpose was, but it was not explicitly stated, or at least not in a way that most people knew of or understood. And so that led to a lot of misunderstandings. The consultants said we were a donut church, a church with no center. And so that made me think of the exclamation mark that some questioning, searching, and reflection helped him discover meaning and purpose. And we had to do that at my church too. Fortunately, the conflict we lived through ultimately resulted in growth and transformation. And I don't just mean numerical growth, although that did happen too, but there was a maturing of the organization at that time of the church. We developed a new mission and covenant and really centered that in our congregational life. The mission has ever since been prominently displayed in large letters on a wall in the sanctuary, and it has served them well to this day. Many of you know that I was not brought up within any religious tradition. The term often used for that is unchurched. I discovered Unitarian Universalism when my husband and I were looking for someone to officiate our wedding. And it felt strange to hire someone to do that and not check out where they were coming from, literally. We wound up becoming members of that UU congregation for over 25 years, with varying levels of attendance. My two daughters went to religious education classes, and they attend UU churches where they live now. But even now, my parents are still somewhat confused by my decision to become a religious educator as a vocation. But I was a philosophy and history major, and I cared deeply about social injustices, and Unitarian Universalism was a place that allowed me to explore life's biggest questions while offering community and opportunities to make the world a better place. Over time, I learned the history of this faith, and then more slowly, our UU theology, but not too much, and not for a very long time. I was very focused on social justice work, and most of the engagement I had at church was in that area, not in religious education. I didn't volunteer in RE until my children were almost done with it. During that time, I imagined that there were multiple opportunities for me to learn about Unitarian Universalism more deeply, to take part in adult religious education. But I don't recall really attending anything like that until I decided that I really wanted to do this as a job. Well, actually, wait, that's not completely true. As social justice chair, I do remember learning and taking workshops about why it is important when doing social justice work to ground it in our faith. And that was actually a kind of new understanding in Unitarian Universalism at the time. This was around the same time that the yellow shirts and the Standing on the Side of Love campaign, as it was called then, was introduced, and there really was an effort to unify Unitarian Universalists so that we would be identifiable to one another and to the larger world. And to be explicit that we were motivated as UUs to witness, to protest, to educate ourselves, to serve, to organize around social justice causes. So, you know what? I had to really be able to tell others why that was. And I hadn't really ever done that before. And I'd been calling myself a UU for many, many years at that point. So many of us come into this faith as adults. Many of us were harmed or dissatisfied in some way by our faith of origin. Or like me, we never had a faith community at all. We were looking for something different that would welcome us as we are. As your religious educator, I have worked with the children and youth of this congregation to help them develop a UU identity, to help them understand our values, and most importantly, know that they are loved. Most parents and guardians bring their children here for those reasons. They want their children to have a faith foundation that helps them explore meaning and purpose in a supportive community. But children don't come to church by themselves. And as children age and their schedules become more full, with lots of activities competing for their time, a family often decides that attending church is less of a priority, especially if the adults haven't, along with their children, developed a UU identity too. And I wonder if we had more robust religious education for adults who are also most likely new to this faith, if those outcomes would be different. Everyone who joins this congregation should have the opportunity to formulate for themselves what it means to them deeply to be a Unitarian Universalist. Much like the exclamation mark in the story, we all need an opportunity to reflect on our own sense of purpose and how Unitarian Universalism helps us claim that purpose. And I would say that crucial to that development as a UU is the ability to explain what Unitarian Universalism is to someone who has never heard of it before, which is most people. Please raise your hand if you have struggled with this. I know I have. And I don't think that being able to describe who we are need only come at the end of a long period of religious education either. It should be something that any one of us, whether this is your first time here or your 100th time, could do. Do we even think that is possible? I do think it is possible. I think it's also very necessary. For our faith to thrive, we need to be able to do this. I'd like to lift up the youth that I'll be working with tomorrow at the Capitol. I also want to mention that Side with Love campaign is in solidarity with protesters against militarization of police in Atlanta, and that our own Allie Tharp disrupted a petroleum conference in Houston trying to protect our shared home. For all that remains unspoken, may the caring of the community offer a space of deep kindness and care.
And now for the second hymn. Let us sing together again. Please rise in body or spirit for hymn number 1002, Comfort Me. The music is in the teal hymnal, but the hymnals have been collected to be updated after the service, so the lyrics will be projected.
I feel like the biggest problem we have with explaining Unitarian Universalism to someone else is how to answer the question, what do UUs believe? Have you heard that question before? Because that's usually where the conversation starts, right? People want to know what we believe. And we get stuck because we know that there is no statement of belief to which we must profess and adhere. And that's kind of what's behind that question. So we get a little lost in how to answer. We start to talk about how we are a covenantal rather than a creedal faith, which doesn't really answer the question, and people might even start to offer, oh, well, you can believe whatever you want, which is categorically not true. Or you don't have to believe anything, which is kind of also not true. And people give you a blank look. So maybe it will help if we can give ourselves some permission here to distinguish in our minds that there is perhaps a difference between a belief with a capital B and a belief with a lowercase b. And I kind of see this as the difference between belief, the noun, and believe, the verb. That it is okay to say we believe certain things that we agree on collectively that have to do with how we are in community with one another and how we wish to behave in the world, that are more important than the what of any capital B/noun belief, in particular regarding understandings about the divine or an afterlife. Does that make any sense at all to help kind of parse those two things? Sometimes this is summed up as deeds, not creeds. A religious scholar, as the Reverend Carl Gregg puts it, would say that Unitarian Universalism is not an orthodoxy, but an orthopraxy. What matters is what you do, how we treat our fellow human beings, and how we treat this planet. Interestingly, in turn, those agreements and understandings about how we want to be together in community inform how we might want to express to someone else what we believe. So what can really help with answering that question, what do you believe, is to really know our covenant. Children and youth regularly begin their religious education classes by forming a covenant. So do our connection groups, and so does this congregation, which we just read today. And the covenant that is found in Article 2 of the Unitarian Universalist Association's bylaws, where the 7 principles and 6 sources reside, and which are currently up for amendment. We had a wonderful discussion about those proposed changes last Sunday with a delicious lunch, and we're going to do that again next Sunday. So please join us, because discussing those changes can be a wonderful way to explore, yes, what Unitarian Universalists believe. And I'd like to show you that slide again. So this is a very lovely graphic of what we are trying to encapsulate in our values and covenant right now as Unitarian Universalists. Love is at the center. The UUA board charged the Article 2 Study Commission to reflect how love is the single highest value among UUs. This should not surprise us, as we often say in our affirmation every Sunday, love is the doctrine of this church. And we side with love every time we put on a yellow shirt. And they state this in the draft Article 2 in several ways. They say, we will transform the world by our liberating love. We draw from our heritages of freedom and reason, hope and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love inspires and powers the passion with which we embody our values. So in the graphic, that's why love is at the center. And then the values are around it, as they are reflections of how that love is expressed through generosity, through justice, through equity, etc. So, I had mentioned that today I might be talking about an elevator speech. Is everybody familiar with that term? It's very difficult for UUs to come up with one because it means speaking briefly, which we have a hard time doing, most of us. So if you were to try and craft an elevator speech, would perhaps these values be of help to you? And when I'm really talking about just a sentence or two that can give in a simple way that will perhaps lead to more discussion, but give in a simple way to that question, what do UUs believe? So yes, there is paper at the end of each row, because you know I'm always going to make you work, and I am getting so hot up here, I'm going to take off my jacket. I would like for us to take a moment to see if we can write out a few things about our elevator speech. Thank you. Doesn't have to get finished. Thank you for passing and sharing the paper around. And I'm going to give you a few other tidbits that you are welcome to adopt or adapt, and maybe you'll see if they fit for you. Remember the deeds, not creeds phrase, so that's one thing. That might be enough for some of us to just be able to say, what do you believe? Well, we believe in deeds, not creeds. You could simply say that. I also like what Reverend Daniel Cantor at First Unitarian Dallas summed up. Jesus was a man, God is mystery, and salvation is acting on our principles. Pretty straightforward. Jesus was a man, God is mystery, and salvation is acting on our principles. And here are a few other ones from Reverend Denise Crawley. For UUs, inclusion is the greatest good, exclusion the greatest sin. Inclusion is the greatest good, exclusion the greatest sin. One God, many names, hope not hell, which is the one I chose to have outside today for everyone driving by. We are a polytheistic faith, embracing many views that unite through community, acting out our faith in justice. All people are welcome, all behaviors are not. Unitarian Universalism is a way of life that stresses questioning, spiritual growth, integrity, and community, which is lived in diversity. This one's a little snarky, and I don't recommend using this one. This one is the church that questions all your answers. We have a lot of different beliefs about God, the afterlife, Jesus, and other holy people, but we agree that our lives are precious and need to be used to help heal the world. We try our best to do that work in communities that support and challenge us. And this one is inspired by one of our beloved theologians, James Luther Adams. We are, and I've already referred to this a little bit, we are a faith that is more concerned about the how of faith than the what of faith. What we believe in matters insofar as we hold our beliefs with integrity, question ourselves and our answers, challenge ourselves to grow, and live into our faith and values alongside one another in community. Across our different beliefs, we focus on how we can be a people of faith together. And this last one is honoring the human impulse of curiosity and creativity. I think that really speaks to religion as a human endeavor. Okay, so that was a few little things that you might want to try and capture in your own elevator speech. I'll just say a few again. Deeds, not creeds. One God, many names, hope not hell. We embrace many views, and through communities, we work for justice in faith. I'm going to stop talking and give you a few more minutes, and then we'll come back. It helps to talk with somebody else. Kelly and I were just chatting, trying to figure that out. If you ask someone else, what do you use, believe? Does anyone have something they'd like to share that felt good, that feels good to them? That if I asked you, what do you use, believe, you'd tell me? Anybody brave? Yes? John?
I always start by saying that a lot of religions are like a tablecloth. They cover the whole thing, whereas UU faith is more like a napkin.
Okay. Religions often are like a tablecloth, and Unitarian Universalism is like a napkin.
In other words, with the table being all of religious belief.
Okay. I'm trying to follow you. We'll talk more.
We don't try to profess that we have all the answers.
Oh, okay. So we have a piece.
Religion for everyone, we just have a small piece of it.
Okay, we have a piece of the truth. We all have a piece of the truth. It's kind of reminds me of the story about the people with the elephant, and they're each touching a different part. And then they find out, oh, it's a snake. No, it's a turtle. No, it's these things. They're touching different parts. And all together, it's one thing. Yeah, yeah. Anyone else? Yes, Carolyn?
There's a popular Christian author, Rick Warren, who wrote a bestseller called Purpose-Driven Life.
Yeah.
So in order to get people to listen, I might borrow from them
Uh-huh.
to see how we live. So sometimes I just say it's a purpose-driven life.
A purpose-driven life. Yeah. I think sometimes we want to give, when somebody asks this question, we want our response to be complete, right? But a lot of the times it can be an invitation for a further discussion, right? So you give them a kind of teaser. That sounds like a great teaser. Yes. Are there any others? Any other thoughts? Yes, Phil?
Trying to get all this in one sentence without too many exclamation points or commas. So, the nut of it for me is I believe in an omnipresent, omnipotent God with many names who is expressed
That's lovely. And I can try and repeat for the folks at home. So an omnipresent force with many names that encompasses all and is known and best known through the word of love. Yeah. Okay. Okay. No, well. Yes, Pat. Jan, sorry. Why am I looking at you and saying Pat? Yes, 3 letters. Okay. Wonderful. So the golden rule that we want to do unto others as we would have them do unto us, and that we are interconnected through a web of life, of mutuality. Yeah. And we're in balance. It can be out of balance if we're not careful. Yeah. Yes, Joe.
A free and responsible search for truth and meaning.
Yes. Yeah. A free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Yes. Love is at our center and is our driving force. Yeah. You know what? You get to keep these in your back pocket. You don't have to memorize it. You can pull that out. You can say, oh, wait, what do you use believe? I have it written down. There was actually a period of time where there were these little cards, these wallet-sized cards that people had that I think had all the principles on it or something. But you can do that for your elevator speech, too. Bill, did you want to share something?
I've been thinking about the absence of the creedal statement. And I like that because I don't believe that truth can be contained in one statement or from one person.
Mm-hmm.
And a part of our tradition is that every voice counts. And that I love the name of our hymnal, the living tradition. It's not something fixed at some time in history. It continues to be formed even presently with our voice.
Right.
Creating.
We get to contribute. I heard yesterday that a chaplain was saying how we are our ancestors' dreams. Us now, being able to do what we're doing right now, is what our ancestors dreamed of for us. And it's a living tradition that they have given to us that we get to then continue and adapt and change as new questions need new answers. And I think that goes back to what John was saying about the napkin versus a tablecloth, that we all have a piece of the part and no one owns the whole truth. And there's no one person or one creed or one faith or one explanation, that we get to meet these things together, bring them together. All right. Thank you so much for participating. I love it that we have a little bit of Sunday school class whenever I'm up in the pulpit. And yes, please keep working on this statement. Write it down and carry it with you, because when people ask you this question, it can get your heart rate up a little. You can start to feel a little anxious and nervous at times. So give yourself time to practice. And if having it written down helps, well then so be it. That's great. That's great. Because the most important thing is to not shy away from this conversation. As Reverend Jamie said last week, there are people out there who need to be here, who need this liberating faith, especially in this state where people are under attack for who they are. So if you have found something meaningful and uplifting here and someone asks you about it, please tell them. As Reverend Jay said, we're talking about human beings. If you believe that this is a worthwhile place and it has benefited your life and it's a benefit to the world, then every single human being who would benefit from us deserves to hear about us, while there is still time to create the beloved community we keep talking about. For this place to have a vibrant voice in a vibrant future, you are going to have to be part of this voice. Amen and blessed be.
And now it is time for the offering. We take an offering each week to sustain this place that we call home and to support the work of our fellowship. Please give generously as you are able. The offertory music is a blend of two beautiful melodies. What wondrous love is this, and O sacred heart now wounded, an arrangement by Cindy Berry. The offering will now be gratefully received, and we thank you.
All right, just to repeat some of our announcements from this morning. We have an update to our teal hymnal that Jackie would love to get your help with, changing the words of one of our hymns. We have a lovely lunch next week to discuss some of what you saw in that slide, centering us in love. It was a great discussion last week, and you're welcome to come again, or if you've missed it, come next Sunday. Again, I'll be at the Capitol tomorrow, and I would love to have friends from San Gabriel come out and show up for our values at the Capitol. Trying to think. If there's anything else, please look in the handout. Many, many thanks to Jean for your accompaniment this morning. It was lovely. Thank you, Kelly, for being up here with me. Oh, we've got applause. Yay. We can applause. Thank you to our folks on tech team making this available to everyone at home. Hello, everyone at home. And we have some lovely treats and coffee waiting for us. Many thanks to our hospitality team. All right.
Now for the extinguishing of the chalice. We close our sacred time together when we extinguish our chalice. I again share with you words from our own Reverend Jamie. We extinguish this flame, but not the chalice inside of our hearts, which serves as a beacon of hope, embodied by its blaze. We are reminded that our strength as prophetic and powerful people is found when we come together at San Gabriel, which is here in Georgetown to stay, no matter what may come our way.
Yay, have we got our fun We Are Family music?
Oh, yeah.
Do we have that, Frank? I love hearing that. every
I
time.
thought I saw that on the thing.
I don't know if it's on there. All right, well, come have a cup of coffee with us.